Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing well. Today I thought I would give you a bit of a journal update as of the end of February and talk a bit about all the things that went on in my journals for February, as well as to do a flip through of them all. I did one of these videos for January where I shared my journals and also talked about different stationery that I'd been enjoying and just all kinds of stationery journal monthly updates on my Patreon, and I thought it was really fun to make, so I thought I would continue it for February, and maybe we will make this a monthly ritual between us. But yeah, I'm just gonna show you what I did in my journals this month, what has changed in my journals, which I had to go back and watch my previous video so I knew what I was doing at the end of January so I could remember everything that changed, because there were a couple things that I did switch up, and then I also will maybe mention some new things that I've gotten and also talk a little bit about my stationery, not low buy, but just mindful buy. I'm trying to be a bit more mindful of budgeting and purchasing journaling supplies this year. So I thought I would share with you also how that's been going. So as per usual, I don't really have an order that I like to have or do with this. I think I'm just gonna jump into it. Maybe I'll start with my passport journal. Okay, so I'm gonna start with this journal because I think in the end of January, I said I was gonna use this journal for ink swatches, which I think was a good idea at the time. I think this journal would be really good for swatching fountain pen inks, but I ended up using it very differently in February, and I actually committed to filling out an entire month for February in this one insert in my passport notebook. This is the Passport Weeks Plus Memo Undated from Traveler's Company. And I kind of did a fun version of a 1 line a day journal spread thing. Instead of 1 line per day, I just would fill out the weekly boxes in this insert, and I did a little bit of decoration. I also used this ink from Sailor Studios. This is called Shirakashi, which is this really beautiful green color, and I had a lot of fun doing some really simple decorating and journaling in this, and I did it for the whole month, which I'm very proud of. I think it's really cool to be able to flip through and see how the pages turned out. So let me give you a little flip through right now. This was the first week. You'll notice I do like to be very simple with my decorations. I am a very minimal journaler at heart, and I think a lot of you probably know that by now. I started clipping in with like paper clips, like really nothing fancy, just using paper clips to clip in different ephemera that connected to the week. I like how I did these flowers at the bottom. This is actually one of the stationery favorites of this month. This is the Peon PET tape. It's the floral one. I think it's called Embroidery. And I used this for 3 out of my 4 spreads, so I really enjoyed that. But yeah, that's from this tape roll. And then that, there we go, is this week. So halfway through, and then we'll go into March next week. But this has been really fun. It's really nice to think about what I want to write about each day when I sit down to use this journal, and I've been really liking doing my kind of minimalist version of decorating and using my stationery in this journal. So this has been really fun. I've been really liking it, and I even set up another journal in the back. I called this my appendix, and this is a craft paper insert, and I'm gonna be using this to paste in all of the other photos I collect throughout the year, and maybe like extra tickets and stuff that I might get too. So then I have maybe like a final archive of this journal and then like other archives and supplementary notebooks of photos and tickets and all that stuff that I can reference together. So this was a fun surprise this month, but it worked out quite well, and I'm happy that I was able to stick to an entire month in this notebook. So that was pretty cool. Okay, so next up is my bullet journal. I recently labeled it. I used I have it right here. Here we go. My Daiso embosser to label it. Today I did this in one of my breaks and I labeled it as my bullet journal, which I really like, but oh, the drama. In February, I used this and then I gave up on it and I stopped using it completely. And I actually thought I was gonna quit bullet journaling. And then I picked it back up again and I started using it not only for my personal life, which I'd been using it for previously, but now I'm ending February using this as both my personal and work bullet journal. So I have re-merged all of my personal and work stuff into one book. Back in, I think it was October of last year, I split my work and personal into different books. And I just found after doing 6 months of that it was really hard to keep track of 2 books. It was a lot of effort having to keep up 2 bullet journals and just not only referencing them, but also making monthly setups for both books, even though they were pretty simple to begin with. And I just felt like it was also hard to get a grasp of what I wanted to do in a day because all of my tasks and events were split over 2 books. So I decided after getting really frustrated one evening that I was just gonna put them all back together in one book. And I've been kind of planning and scheming how I want to make that work better next month. Oh, that's not February. But I'll give you a flip through of how the month looked and you can see exactly how this month was, and then it'll probably be cool because next month will probably turn out very different. I have a lot of things that I want to do to change up this setup and make it a lot more effective for me so that I can plan out personal stuff, also plan out work stuff, and still be able to share my journal with you guys because the work I do as a designer is confidential. So I can't write about the projects I'm doing in here in like their real names, but I figured out that what I could do instead is I could actually use code names, and that would allow me to still have my task list, but not break any NDA agreements, which, you know, we like to avoid generally. This is when I stopped using my bullet journal. So there's a couple blank pages here. And I picked it back up recently. And this is where you'll notice I gave all of my work projects code names using the Greek Olympians from Greek mythology. So I have Hera over here. I also have Zeus somewhere. That's another project I'm working on. So I have Project Hera, Project Zeus. So if you do see any like Greek gods and Greek mythology names and figures in here, that is what that is referencing to. But it is kind of nice to have everything in one book again. It's kind of nice to have your whole life contained into one journal. I don't know why, but it just feels a lot better for me and it feels right. And then there's a couple more pages. But I'll also show here, one of the things I'm gonna start doing in March is I'm gonna start using dots to color code my collections so I can reference my stuff better and be able to categorize based on different parts of my life. So is it a personal thing? Is it a design/work thing? Is it a KaitlinGrey thing? Is it a family note? All of that good stuff. And this is kind of the plan that I've written out for March right now. This is how it's looking. So we'll see what happens. I'm gonna probably share my March setup once I do it. so you guys can see how it will look. But that is the plan right now for this journal. Okay, so next up is my standard TN. So this is the last journal that I have happening right now. So back in January, I did have my other A6 notebook as my life log, and that is now designated to my passport. So we are back to using 3 journals, and this guy had a lot of different uses in February. I started using this as a just long form journal. Then I changed and tried using this as a planner, which looked like this. And then I decorated this week. And after a week of using a planner, I was like, wait, I want to go back into my bullet journal. And I moved back because, I don't know, I've been bullet journaling since 2018, and it just is something that I feel very comfortable with. And I think this was a nice idea, but again, I would have had the same problem where this is just personal planning. I still have a work bullet journal. I'm having to keep up both, and it was just too much effort. But then to try to have this planner to plan work and personal would have been way too hard. I take so many notes at work. I have so many tasks that just anything but a bullet journal would be very hard to manage it. So I stopped using this, but this spread looked pretty cute. I really like, again, this floral PET tape by Peon really did the heavy lifting. And that was all I did in this insert. I had this originally set up as a commonplace book, so to kind of be the note-taking section of the planner. But I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to maybe finish this note and then use the rest of this book as my long form journal again. And I'm gonna just use this journal as a long form journal and go back to its original purpose, because I will not be using this as a planner because now I'm using my bullet journal again. But I do like having a space to just write out my thoughts and feelings and have that kind of open area to let those things flow. And this notebook is a really great size and layout for that. So that is how we are using this guy as of the end of this month. So we have this guy, this notebook, and my bullet journal. And I'll give you guys a quick update of how my budgeting went for this month. So last month I spent quite a bit of money on stationery, $525, and I'll give you the update for this month. So this month I got a couple fountain pen supplies. I got some washi tape. I actually have it right here. I bought some washi tape from Yohaku. They released these like thin washi tapes, which I've used a lot in my journal already and I've been really liking. And then I bought, two things. One, I bought a new glue stick. This is big news, guys, because I've been using the same yellow glue stick by Yoo-Hoo for a really long time, and it was actually running out. So I bought, when I was at Paper Plus Cloth, this one by Kikuyo. This is the Kikuyo permanent glue stick, and it smells really nice. I feel like it's almost baby powder. I don't know, but it's really nice. I haven't used it yet, but I am excited to. So that was like the first big purchase. And then the second big purchase, let me close this, was, here it is. I got a new fountain pen ink. I got, while I was at Paper Plus Cloth, this one by Sailor. It's called Yamaguri, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's this really nice dark brown sepia color, and I put it in my Twisby medium fountain pen, which looks really, really nice, and that was the other thing that I got. So only a couple things, and the total was pretty good. I spent about $150 on stationery this month, and a lot of it was, well, not a lot of it, most of it, some of it was like more essential things. So yeah, definitely a pretty good improvement from the 500 that was the month before. So that's pretty cool to see that change. It's nice to track the trend because I would have never known that if I didn't write that down. So yeah, pretty cool, pretty cool. And let me see, I don't think there's any other big updates. I shared with you guys what's in my notebooks. I mentioned a couple of things that I've gotten recently in terms of stationery, and yeah, not too much else has happened. That's kind of been what's been going on with me. Maybe let me know below what you're doing in your journals right now. Have things been changing for you? I'm curious to see if I do anything in March. I feel like we're in a pretty good place right now, but I also said that at the end of January and ended up changing a lot, so we'll see. But I guess we'll know in March how things went, and I hope until then you guys have a great month of March. I hope that it's good for you. I hope daylight savings isn't too hard on you if you do have daylight savings, because I know for me that is the worst day of the year and I do not like it. But I hope it's not too bad for you, and thank you so much for watching if you're still here. Thank you so much to my patrons for supporting me, and I will see you all next week for the next video. Bye, everybody.